As jazz musicians, we're always looking for interesting ways to put chord progressions together, and that means using great chord voicings. But a lot of people think it's just about using rich and more dissonant chord voicings. It's not. It's about a contrast between more simplistic voicings and the dissonant ones. The ear can't hear it if it were all dissonant. In this video, we're going to use a raised 2 voicing on a melody, and then after that, we're going to apply the dissonance. That's what makes great contrast. Let's play the first few bars of the verse of Stardust, and we can hear it right off the bat. Do you hear that? It went from a simple melody using the raised 2 voicing into a more dissonant chord, a sharp 11 chord. Let's hear it one more time. Okay, let's take a look at this sheet music now. So again, it went from simple chord voicing on that melody to a more dissonant chord, our dominant 7 sharp 11 chord. What is a raised 2 voicing? Well, we all know what a drop 2 voicing is, and if you don't, this is what it is. You've got a 7th chord. Let's do C major 7. And if you take the second note from the top, drop 2, which is the G, and you move it down an octave, you get this voicing. If you've heard of a drop 2, drop 4 voicing, that means to take the 2 and lower it an octave, and then take the 4th note from the top and lower it an octave, and you get this voicing. That's an interesting sound. Now, a raised 2 voicing, on the other hand, means to take the second note from the top and raise it an octave. So take the G and move it up here. Now, if we just use a triad instead of a 7th chord, and we raise the 2, which is second note from the top, up an octave, we get this sound. And that's the voicing we're going to use in Stardust. It contains a 5th at the bottom and a 6th on top. And we're speaking, of course, diatonically. So in the key of C, it's all white notes. So when we play the melody of Stardust, we get a sound like that. So again, it's the contrast between the more simple one and the more dissonant one. We go from simple to dissonance, back to simple, back to dissonance. That's what makes great contrast. Now you're probably thinking, how do I play something like that smoothly? Because of course, it's 6th in the right hand. That's not an easy thing to do. Let's try a little exercise. Let's do our drop 2 voicing on a C major chord. The right hand is playing 1 and 5. Let me just show you that if we were to write that in. So here's 1 and 5. So this is the 1st finger here, and this is the 5th finger here. And then what you would do is when you're going down the scale, you change it to 1 and 4. So instead of 5, this is 4. So you keep switching back between 1 and 5 and 1 and 4. So let's try that. 1 and 5, and then go down the scale to 1 and 4. And then what you would do very quickly, especially if it's rubato, is you would change the 4th finger to the 5th finger to make it smooth. See that? Now, in the left hand, you change from 1 to 3. So for example, we're starting here. When we go down the scale, go to your 3rd finger, and then switch quickly to the 1st finger just as the upper hand is switching from 5 to 4. So obviously I'm exaggerating it, but you need to do that a little bit quicker. And that's basically how to do things like this. You see how the fingers are switching? And when it comes to using different types of fingerings, obviously we're in the key of C. If we were to change to a more flat or sharp key, you're going to have to figure that out. But it's kind of the same strategy, using 1 and 4 in the right hand and 1 and 5. For example, let's take a look at D flat major. So in the right hand, it's 1 and 4, then 1 and 5, back to 1 and 4, and then 1 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 4. It is going to be a little bit different depending on what key you're in, but basically that's the strategy for fingering. Let's go back and listen to that on the grand piano from the beginning, and I'll show you where an opportunity to use raised 2 voicing comes up next. So here's the first one. Here's a quick instance. Right there. Now it goes back to the top and does our raised 2 voicing again. Love that inner voice there dropping on the A7 chord. Now here's another instance of raised 2 right here. Let's go to the sheet music and take a look at that one. It's the same strategy, starting at the beginning of the line there. Go back to the song and listen to the next part. It's just the beginning of the chorus. That's the exact same strategy. It's our raised 2 voicing, and it would be right here is where we're doing it. So interestingly enough, we're starting with more dissonance leading up to that simple and then getting back to dissonance here. Let's play that. And then our raised 2 voicings. That's a really cool sound. Now you can try that on this tune, which is Stardust, but you can pretty much apply that on any tune, especially when the melody is like eighth notes. It's a great way to apply our raised 2 voicings. I'm going to put a link to this sheet music, which contains all of the chord voicings and this particular arrangement of Stardust. I'm going to put a link to that up here in the corner. It's absolutely free to download it. Yes, it's just the verse and the first 2 bars of the chorus, but you get a sense of how I actually approach chord progressions and all the interesting voicings that we use, including the raised 2 voicing. And if you could just take a second, reach down, hit the little thumbs up button, it really helps us here at the channel. If you want to subscribe, just hit the little bell and we'll notify you of all the upcoming videos that we're making. If you're looking for more chord progression ideas and interesting voicings, I suggest you check out this video next.